You wake up, you reach for a box of cereal. You do this without thinking, the same way you brush your teeth or tie your shoes. But the real answer to why you eat breakfast is far stranger than you've ever considered. Your body did not evolve to expect a meal the moment you open your eyes. Nothing in your biology demands it, and yet you feel it anyway, that pull toward food before you've even fully woken up. Where does that pull actually come from? Not from your ancestors, not from your genes, from a box. For most of human history, there was no such thing as breakfast. Not the concept, not the ritual, not even the word as you understand it. People ate when food was available, and food was rarely available on a schedule. Hunger did not run on a clock. It ran on circumstance. Historian Abigail Carroll spent years tracing how Americans actually ate before the modern era, and what she found upends almost everything you assume about the first meal of the day. Colonial households didn't sit down to eggs and toast at dawn. They grabbed leftover stew, cold meat, sometimes just bread, whenever the morning's work allowed a pause. Breakfast, as a fixed daily ritual with its own foods and its own rules, is astonishingly young. It's less than 200 years old. Go back further, past agriculture, past villages, and the picture becomes even stranger. Consider the Hadza, a hunter-gatherer community in Tanzania, whose way of life has remained remarkably close to how humans lived for tens of thousands of years. Evolutionary anthropologist Herman Pontzer has spent years studying their eating patterns, and what he documented has quietly reshaped how scientists think about the human body's relationship to food. The Hadza don't eat a morning meal the way you do. Some days bring abundance. Other days bring almost nothing until late afternoon. Their bodies handle this without apparent distress. Your body might too, if you gave it the chance. But you probably never have, because you were taught, quite explicitly, that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Have you ever wondered who taught you that, and why? The answer involves cereal companies. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, food manufacturers needed people to buy a new category of product, one that didn't exist as a habit yet. Companies selling cornflakes and other packaged grains funded messaging around the idea that a hearty morning meal was essential for health and moral discipline. It worked. Within a generation, an invented habit calcified into common sense. What began as marketing became, in the public mind, biology. This is the reframe you were promised. The urge you feel every morning isn't ancient, it's commercial. But here's where the story gets genuinely counterintuitive, because your body's actual relationship to morning eating is more complicated than either the marketers or the paleo enthusiasts would like it to be. Neuroscientist Sachin Panda at the Salk Institute has spent over a decade studying circadian rhythms and how the timing of meals affects metabolism, not just what you eat, but when. His research on time-restricted eating shows that your body's insulin sensitivity and hormone regulation shift dramatically across the day, tied to light exposure and internal clocks far older than any cereal brand. So the truth sits somewhere between the two extremes. Ancient humans didn't ritualize breakfast, but their eating windows were still shaped by daylight and opportunity, patterns your circadian biology still quietly expects even now. What's missing today isn't the specific meal. It's the rhythm. You've inherited a body tuned by hundreds of thousands of years of irregular, effort-based eating, wrapped in a culture that insists on fixed, often unnecessary morning consumption. No wonder so many people feel either starving or nauseated the moment they wake up. Their internal signals and their cultural script are pulling in opposite directions. Think about what this means the next time you feel guilty for skipping your morning meal, or anxious that you're somehow damaging your metabolism. That guilt has a source, and it isn't your evolutionary history. It's an advertising campaign that succeeded so completely you never thought to question it. Your ancestors would find your anxiety bizarre. They didn't fear an empty stomach at dawn. They expected it. Hunger was simply the normal condition of the early hours, resolved whenever the day's foraging produced something worth eating. Does that mean you should throw out breakfast entirely? Not necessarily. What matters more than the meal itself is the story wrapped around it, the assumption that skipping it is a failure rather than a return to something closer to your original design. Nobody rushed to fill those early hours. Nobody considered them dangerous. The next time you stand in front of the pantry at 7 in the morning, notice the moment. Notice whether you're actually hungry or whether you're simply following a script written by people who profited from your compliance. Your ancestors never had that script. They had only the day in front of them and whatever it offered. So tonight, when you set your alarm and prepare for tomorrow morning's ritual, ask yourself honestly what part of that ritual belongs to your body and what part belongs to a box.